Watch the Muppet Show. Start your night with a bang.
Battle of the Network shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series.
Welcome to another episode of Battle of the Network shows. Today we're going to talk about an episode of The Muppet Show. The Muppet Show was a variety show from the 70s and early 80s. It ran for 5 years, and of course, catapulted the Muppets to worldwide fame in movies and just general belovedness.
Yes, very beloved. A lot of belovedness.
And just so you know, we have a special guest today. He's not going to say anything, but Kermit the Frog is sitting on the table.
Yes, he is. He's sitting in, looking almost directly at me.
Yeah.
It looks like he's happy, so...
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Kermit.
He acknowledged Rick's.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we'll have a picture of him up on the website. All right, Rick's going to tell us about today's episode.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the, I guess, one that debuted October 31st, 1977, at least in the United States. The show aired more or less simultaneously in the United States and the UK, as well as all over the world. But yeah, this one has Steve Martin as the special guest star.
Yay!
Yeah, so in the cold open of the show, Scooter calls for Steve Martin, declaring 15 seconds to curtain. We see Steve in his dressing room with an arrow in his head, preparing, and Scooter tells him, "You're going to feel right at home around here," as we go into the theme song. After the theme song and credits, Kermit walks on stage at the Muppet Theater and says he has a special announcement. Up in the balcony, Statler and Waldorf speculate that their dream has come true and the show has been canceled. Cut to Kermit. Tonight's show has been canceled. Apparently it was supposed to be a night for auditions, and so the disappointed audience, unable to see the episode, shuffles out of the theater. Steve Martin then walks on stage in a bathrobe and shower cap and becomes increasingly agitated with Kermit about his not being told about the cancellation. He even gets in an "excuse me." To his credit, though, it is pretty unprofessional of the show to do this to him. In an interesting moment, Statler and Waldorf decide to stay, clearly more concerned with mocking whatever is put in front of them than in taking this opportunity to go on with their lives and find something that they can appreciate. Insert your own joke here about internet commenters. Fonzie is worried that the show is auditioning replacements, not just new talent, but Kermit reassures him. Some of the Muppets then hang around in the audience inside the theater as the talent parade begins. First act is the Lautrec sisters doing the Garbage Can. Next up is Mary Louise and Friend, is how they're billed. The somewhat Prairie Dawn-ish Mary Louise starts singing Swanee River as her frog companion adds a ribbit, but she quickly gets the hook, literally, from off stage. Steve Martin is ready now, and while Kermit says he doesn't need to do this, Steve says he can just perform for the guys. Martin does his balloon animals bit, which culminates in a giant balloon taking him up into the air and off stage. Next, it's Terry Louise and Friend, this time singing Tie a Yellow Ribbon, but once again she gets the hook right after the frog goes ribbit. Next up is one of the world's greatest comics, Baskerville Hound, who barely gets into his routine before Fozzie kicks him off. Kermit lectures Fozzie about the value of seeing new acts and not being threatened. Then Scooter brings out the next talent, an MC named Lenny the Lizard, who does stage patter in a very familiar style until Kermit shouts an abrupt "Next!" Now it's time for the Four Fazoods, a quartet of aliens doing an odd percussion and vocalizing act. And after a break, Kermit recaps the acts we've seen, and Gonzo wants to audition. Kermit brushes him off, but sure enough, the next act is Gonzales and Yolanda, which is Gonzo and a big hunk of gorgonzola cheese doing a flamenco dance number. Next up, Carrie Louise and Friend start doing Old Man River, are cut off again, and now we see it's Miss Piggy who's been yanking the woman away. "I'm the female singer on this show," she warns Mary, Terry, Carrie, or Prairie, or whoever she is. Steve Martin is back out to do Ramblin' Guy with his banjo, another musical number. And then Statler and Waldorf come out and do Varsity Drag, a very old-timey vaudeville song and dance bit. Sam Eagle approves this act, telling Kermit the show, for once, feels like a normal, moral, decent program. Cue Scooter announcing Marvin Suggs and his all-food glee club as Sam shakes his head in dismay. Marvin Suggs is a band leader who sounds suspiciously like Miss Piggy while leading a group of food items through Yes We Have No Bananas. They do, however, have lots of puns that they sprinkle throughout the routine. Steve Martin's out again to do Juggling Guy. And by the way, one notable thing about this episode, no laugh track, but we do hear frequent laughter from the Muppets and what sounds like the people playing the Muppets, if that makes sense. Some of it might be crew laughter, too. It makes for an interesting atmosphere, though, and adds to the feel that Steve Martin really is doing his routines, quote, for the guys. One of the best new acts is out now, one of my favorites, the Zucchini Brothers, a human cannonball troupe with stereotypical Italian accents. Only thing is the cannon doesn't fire before the curtain falls. Steve Martin says he's disappointed about not doing the number he was going to do on the show with the Jug Band. Kermit says, well, I would have liked to have seen it, and Martin quickly replies, I knew he'd fall for it. What follows is a little dueling banjos with Steve Martin, several of the auditioners, and a jug band. It's a pretty cool number, and Kermit is dancing and clapping along. Kermit then thanks Steve, and Martin adds, it was a pleasure not being on your show tonight. Cue the end credits and the theme song, and thus endeth a unique but entertaining episode of what we call The Muppet Show.
When we were looking at choosing The Muppet Show, one of the reasons I think we chose it was because it sort of represents the variety show genre in its own strange way. A genre that's not really around anymore, unless you consider like SNL to be a variety show. But, through, I guess, basically all of TV until maybe the mid to late 80s, it was kind of a staple of TV.
Yeah, especially in the 1970s, when it seemed like everybody had a variety show and or variety specials, and then it tapered off a little bit as the 80s went on. But now we've got like competition shows like America's Got Talent or American Idol, but it's really a very different format than what this is. Yeah, and in terms of episodes, I was kind of looking at who the guests were, and one of the things that fascinates me about the Muppet Show is that a lot of the guests were sort of either representative of 70s celebrity or were people who had been around for a long time, like Milton Berle and Vincent Price, and I think Spike Milligan, and a lot of people that you might have also seen on game shows of the time, and the kind of people we don't have anymore. Like, there aren't those kind of old school celebrities anymore, I don't think. Right, like the show busy celebrities as opposed to like reality show famous, like, people like a Rip Torn or something like that, or not Rip Torn, Rip Taylor. Yeah. Avery Schreiber. Yeah, people who kind of represent maybe pre-60s entertainment in terms of, their leanings. But also people who do fit in with the later, sort of more modern feel, like Steve Martin. Although he's also harkening back. He's kind of doing both at the same time. Or he's a postmodern, old school comedian, or whatever his deal is. But I ultimately chose this episode because it looked interesting, and Steve Martin, you knew it would be entertaining. Like, it wouldn't be a bomb. So, with that, it is very atypical. Because it technically isn't the variety show. I mean, you're still getting a lot of sketches and bits and things. But, so a normal episode would have, you would be seeing the show that they were putting on, and then a backstage stuff. And it would have a laugh track, which could be a little confusing because the laugh track was also laughing at the stuff going on backstage. Right. But clearly, because this one doesn't have the laugh track is meant to represent the audience in the theater. Yes. Although that audience often seems to not enjoy the show. Yeah. Or at least two of its vocal... Waldorf and Statler certainly don't enjoy the show. Yeah. We do find out that their tickets are free. So I don't know if all the tickets are free. Yeah, or just them. Because I believe Statler says he's going to stay. The reason they stay is because he paid for these tickets and he's going to get his money's worth out of it. And then Waldorf is like, well, they're free. And they stay anyway. Yeah. We later find out maybe why they stayed when they do their weird performance. Nevertheless, you get lots of Muppets and you get Steve Martin, and you get... Especially Fozzie is having all this anxiety about being replaced. Apparently Miss Piggy is too. Although that's really the only place she shows up. Right. It's only the one. The reveal of her pulling the hook is the only time we see her, I think, in the episode. Yeah, which is another thing. I felt like this episode had a lot of sort of things you would maybe see one or two of on a normal episode of sort of experimental stuff. Them pushing the boundaries of Muppetness and. Or doing not necessarily the typical characters. Yeah, the talent show format is definitely kind of unusual. Usually there's like a narrative going on, but it's not just like running a bunch of acts out for auditioning purposes. It's like they're putting on the show, like you said. Yeah, so. And so usually there were, recurring bits too.
There were the veterinarian's hospital with Rolf and Miss Piggy and Janice, where they would be doing surgery and making wisecracks.
Yeah.
The kind of similar to the ballroom dancing things, where there'd be ballroom dancing, and then, a couple would come into view and stop and have some little conversation, and it would end on a goofy joke, or Pigs in Space, Muppet Labs, Swedish Chef, things like that. And Kermit usually interviewed the guest, or did a song with them, or had a moment with the guest anyway. So you don't get any of those things. Fozzie would usually have his bit.
Yeah.
And instead we get Baskerville, the hound,
Baskerville.
Dressed exactly like Fozzie.
Yeah.
But he's in front of Fozzie's park bench backdrop, which I don't get why that's a backdrop. But, I don't know why that's a stand up.
Yeah.
That might be a British thing.
Yeah, maybe a brick wall would be more
Yeah,
appropriate.
which is actually we get a lot this time. A lot of times they don't have backdrops, so you see the backstage area, all the rigging and stuff, which is kind of cool. And then you got Steve Martin. It was a little hard. It was like, well, how are they going to work him in then? But he worked himself in.
Right. He was not affected. He just figured, well, he came here to perform, and he's going to perform. He's a performer.
Yeah.
And that's what he does.
Yeah, and as Scooter said, he pretty much fit in.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He was a pretty good act. And this was Steve Martin when he was really a big star at this point too. I mean, he was selling out arenas and as a stand-up comedian basically doing his show, and it was probably a pretty big deal for him to be on the Muppet Show. Some of his albums had already come out, and he'd already been on Saturday Night Live, multiple times by this time. But he's not so big that he can't come down to the Muppet Theater and play and stick around. And he gets over the fact that they canceled the show without telling him.
Which is, that's very unprofessional.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Kermit doesn't really get into detail about how that could happen.
Yeah, things are often chaotic at the Muppet Theater.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it seems like Kermit's in charge, so...
But he does seem to delegate a lot to, like, Scooter. I mean...
He does.
My natural inclination is to blame Scooter.
Yeah.
But Scooter doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would have screwed this up. It seems more likely that Kermit just missed something.
Right.
But how did they let a whole paying or non-paying crowd fill the auditorium?
Yeah. Like everyone... Like Kermit... I feel like Kermit knew it was audition day and everyone else forgot or didn't get the memo.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't
and then he had to
like
go,
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
You had to go out and tell an angry crowd that, and have
Right.
them skulk off. I hope they didn't have to give refunds. If they were a paying crowd, I guess it's to his credit that he didn't just on the fly sort of like make everybody sit there and pay to watch the auditions.
Yeah, like I don't know why they couldn't hang out for the auditions, but
Yeah.
I guess it was just so they could get the regular Muppets into the audience.
It was interesting. It was kind of a unique perspective.
And I think a Wikipedia quoted, there was a point somewhere where these were, I think on Odyssey they were running with repeats of this.
Sounds right. That was like a Jim Henson, half Jim Henson network, I think.
Right. So Brian Henson did introductions and did say the laughter you hear is like the crew and cast.
Okay.
Like really laughing. So.
Okay. It was hard to tell at times. Like sometimes it sounded like laughing in character, and sometimes it sounded like laughing out of character. But maybe there's a very fine line, or maybe not even a distinction at all. But it was interesting, especially with like the Steve Martin bits. I mean, it seemed like they were genuinely enjoying it. But.
Let's look back at some of these acts.
Okay, what'd you think about the Lautrec sisters doing the garbage can? That was kind of a short. Not particularly memorable thing. They were... No,
and they were...
4 mice, I think.
I think they were rats.
Oh, rats, okay, yeah.
But they weren't sophisticated rats like Rizzo the Rat. Like the Muppet design I wasn't very appealing. Yeah, I don't know that even in the Muppet world anyone would really want to see that again.
Yeah, well, they were kind of the opening deal and first on the list to audition, so they can't all be winners. And
no.
They probably... So you don't think they would make the main show?
I don't think so. I mean, they're pretty weird, but yeah. And then we get our first appearance of...
Yeah, Mary Louise and Friend.
Yeah.
That's how Scooter billed them.
Yeah, like, on the one hand, I'm not necessarily a Miss Piggy fan, but I think they were right.
think she did everyone
Get
a
the
favor.
hook. Yeah. And I enjoyed how quickly that happened.
Yeah.
And the puppet design on that too was seemed like a very lightweight, the hook, the way the puppet looked when it got hooked worked, I think.
Yeah.
Just because she was so small.
Right.
And I did think of Prairie Dawn from Sesame Street too.
And then generic frog.
Generic frog, and the last time it happened, like the frog laughs.
Yeah, the frog seemed to be kind of like enjoying it actually. Like,
Yeah.
Like, hey, he didn't care.
No.
Maybe he's going to be a solo act after this.
Yeah.
He seems to have limited range because all he says is ribbit.
Yeah.
You know, on cue. But hey, if he wants to strike out on his own, more power to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I'm not a Miss Piggy fan either, as you know.
Yeah.
She was always my least favorite part of the Muppets period, but she was used effectively here.
Yeah.
And it was kind of. It's a little selfish of her to keep any female singer.
Right.
Like I don't remember her hooking like Anne Murray off the stage when she was on it or whatever.
No.
But,
There might be some competition going on there.
Maybe she wasn't threatened by Anne Murray. I don't know.
Yeah. She might have been. I do remember her being threatened by definitely by some of the guests. Loretta Swit, maybe.
Yeah, she just probably couldn't find a hook big enough to pull Loretta Swit off the stage in the middle of Loretta Swit.
Yeah.
Did Loretta Swit come on and sing Swanee River?
No. I think Loretta Swit, though, was... there's like a sketch where she's giant.
Or like physically giant?
Like 50 feet tall kind of thing.
Really? Well,
I think a
remember
Muppet Labs thing goes wrong.
Oh, and Loretta Swit
Yeah.
turns into a giant. So Miss Piggy would be really threatened by a giant, or would she think, well, nobody's going to take her seriously because she's, 50-foot Loretta Swit?
Yeah. Boy, I don't know. Miss Piggy's hard to read.
She
Because
is.
I did another episode I watched featured Avery Schreiber, and she one of the reasons I didn't pick that was because Miss Piggy was part of the plot. She tries to make Kermit jealous by making him think she's hooking up with Avery Schreiber.
Avery Schreiber.
And he gets invited. He's in on the plot,
Okay.
too, and it somehow it works.
He's a good sport, I guess.
Kermit gets mad.
So after Mary Louise
Yeah.
and her friend, it's Steve, Steve Martin.
Right.
Uh,
I assume the giant balloon part of that was special for.
I think that was that. I don't think he did that in his regular act. I'd
that
seen
was
the
good.
other stuff before, but
Yeah.
I think they modified it a little bit.
Did he? Since you've seen some of that, did he intentionally pop the balloon that pops, or did it happen to pop and then?
I think he does that on purpose.
Okay.
Because I know he
Because
does.
there's a little joke about it.
Yeah, because like that bit starts out with like the whole thing about I don't want to repeat myself, and
Yeah.
just kind of even his his what will I do his classic Steve Martin stuff, which is it's still funny to me. I think he's really good at that and sort of deconstructing comedy and performance and that kind of thing, which he did so well. And even like years later when we've sort of seen that sort of attitude and things like that, I think he did it best and did it really well. So it's still fun watching those bits.
Who's after him?
Terry Louise. So it was Terry Louise again,
Yeah.
and that time she did tie a yellow ribbon, and then it's Baskerville Hound,
Right.
who boy, I can't remember the joke he
I
did.
don't remember it either.
But yeah, he didn't last very long.
Yeah.
I mean, Fozzie actually I think came out and physically kicked him off. He didn't even bother with a hook. He just told him to take a hike.
Right. And then we get the MC.
Yeah.
Who's basically a lizard who looks a lot like, kind of like the dog looks vaguely like Fozzie.
Yeah.
The lizard puppet. One, I mean, it doesn't look like it's not as detailed as your regular Muppet, but it's pretty much the same design with some teeth.
Yeah, it's definitely like a cut-rate Kermit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
And he seemed fine.
Yeah, well, they play it kind of for laughs with the the juxtaposition of Kermit lecturing Fozzie to be more tolerant and accepting, and then Kermit being immediately threatened when he sees somebody doing his bit. But there seems to be maybe room for a couple of like hack comics, but to have an MC,
right?
I mean, what's the MC going to do except take Kermit's job eventually, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to come out and do an MC bit like in the middle of the show, is he?
No, there's no.
Yeah, you don't have like your MC come out and introduce an MC is like third or fourth from the top or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of direct competition. So I kind of see where Kermit's coming from there.
I mean, if Kermit wanted to relieve some of his stress, he could hire an MC.
Yeah, he could have like a backup.
Yeah.
Kermit's not really interested in that, I don't think.
No, I think Kermit works better under pressure.
Yeah,
even though it exasperates him all the time, it clearly that's his.
He always delivers.
His thing. Yeah.
And yeah, he cut off this Lenny the Lizard thing. He wasn't having any of that. He was not having any of that. Now, what about the 4 Fazoods? I think it was
the 4
Fazoods.
Like that's another one of those sort of Muppet experimental kind of things. Like so they're aliens. They're all making sounds, and the sounds together make them sound kind of musical.
Yeah, and they're playing themselves basically.
Yeah. One like sounds like a drum.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was kind of interesting. Yeah. The thing about a lot of these things are like you wouldn't want to pay to see like 15 minutes of them or anything, but as far as like 2 or 3 minutes on a show like this, it's kind of cool to see these bits.
And they definitely, that seems like the kind of thing they showed a lot.
Yeah.
To those weird little things.
I could see them being on the main shows at some point. Maybe they might have passed the audition here. Well, they came out later for the banjo number with the jug band.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's an endorsement or they just were still around, hadn't left yet. And
yeah. They also, came to audition from another planet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Maybe that's why Kermit couldn't go through with a regular show. They had to stick to this specific night, and
yeah, that would make sense.
Because he didn't want to.
But he didn't seem to be aware of. Like Scooter was the one. It seemed like Scooter had arranged the auditions.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe there's some kind of conflict of interest. Like Kermit doesn't want any part of that. He's sitting in the. He doesn't want to be influenced ahead of time. He just wants to judge them purely on their performance.
Right.
So he lets Scooter handle all that stuff, and he just kind of sits in that.
He's like the director, and Scooter's the casting director, or the person who read the sign-up sheet.
Yeah.
I assume there are open auditions.
Yeah, I guess so. They must be very open for the Fazoods to come from whatever planet they're from. But yeah, they were decent. And how about Gonzalez and Yolanda?
I think we skip? No, that's right. We haven't gotten there. Gonzo's always Gonzo. I don't understand his performance pieces.
No.
But it's cool seeing like a block of cheese dance.
Yeah, and there was a funny bit in there where Kermit was asking about who he's dancing with, and he's sort of incredulous when if it's a female, Well, of course it's a female. What would he be dancing with a male piece of cheese? That would be weird, So yeah, I enjoyed that. Like I said, it was a flamenco kind of number, and something a little different.
And Gonzo changed clothes very quickly.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he had something on underneath. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, but he pulled it off.
Yeah.
And then it was the final appearance of Carrie Louise, and this time the Old Man River, and Miss Piggy gave her the bum's rush. Then it was Steve Martin again, doing the Ramblin' Guide number, and and
he did. There was some line in there about Muppets, about the Muppet Show or something. So I don't know that bit well enough to know if he would always change it for where he was.
Yeah, I don't know if he did that either, but yeah, I mean it was kind of a general thing. I guess he changed. Yeah, I mean Steve Martin didn't phone it in, definitely.
No,
he wasn't just. I'm kind of saying he's doing this bit and that bit, but he was tailoring it to the show.
Yeah,
which is cool. Did you like Varsity Drag with Statler and Waldorf?
I was okay. I mean, Muppets with legs always look weird.
Yeah.
Almost always. And they looked especially weird.
Yeah, that was so far out of their element.
Yeah. But the thing I thought about when I was watching the other episode that I had never really thought about with the Muppet Show in particular, but these kinds of shows in general, is that so when we were kids and watching this, unbeknownst to us, we were getting an education in sort of older pop culture. Because even that other one, or a lot of times they would have people singing older songs like that, or they would do, or Muppets doing. I think the Avery Sharper one had Rolf and some dogs doing some kind of old song, not quite that corny song, but like an old song like that. That I don't know if there's any place where a kid would be hearing, say, a song from the 50s or something. Yeah. Just on on the Disney Channel or something.
Yeah, or even older than that, or like standards like a barbershop quartet or something would come on and do something from like the turn of the century or.
Right, like I mean this song.
yeah. There was definitely
the 20s
a big blending of like new and old.
Yeah.
Sort of in this old timey vaudeville like format and.
Right, and also kind of old. puns and just one-liner kind of comedy and
Yeah.
stuff. And I think there's some value to that, to that variety show format of allowing for that. That I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if someone put one on now. I don't think it would do that. Like I think it would, the musical guests would all be current and.
Right. I was just thinking about this recently, and it's interesting because the variety show format was always self-aware on television. Like it was always like be jokes about being a variety show and everything, but it was sort of in a different way. Like now, people would like feel they have to apologize for doing a variety show, and it's like they have to confront it right from the beginning, and they just don't do it in the same way. It's self-aware, but it's even more self-aware. It's self-aware, but it's like in your face about it and sort of self-apologizing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does seem weird. It's like everything that would do this kind of format now would be mocking itself, it feels like.
So, from that standpoint, I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of funny and weird.
Yeah.
Which then the act right after that, too, the
Glee Club.
The Glee Club is also, on the one hand, it's a Glee Club, and they're, of course, Glee Clubs are back in again. But, but it's also a bunch of fruit and vegetables harmonizing.
Yeah.
And singing kind of an old song.
Like an old standard with this weird twist on it. And,
right, and it's got all the puns in it.
Yeah, doing the jokes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in between, you had like a nice little bit with Sam.
Yeah.
Sort of giving his endorsement of the Statler and Waldorf Act, which is perfectly in character and makes sense and everything. So
yeah,
that was a nice little bridge there.
Yeah.
And after then as I had Steve Martin doing some juggling, and then the Zucchini Brothers come out, and I love the Zucchini Brothers.
Yeah. That was good. It was good antic Muppet fun, and like you said, the stereotypical accents.
Yeah, they're basically like pusha, just kind of muttering while I think there was like music, just kind of like you say, antic, like one of those things where like da 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 da, there's like.
And then they're like when they were stuffing the guy into the cannon.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool too, because if you think about it, it was two Muppets being performed by at least two human beings.
Yeah, right.
Stuffing a Muppet that, had been performed when it came out, but then clearly wasn't connected to a person anymore. But, stuffing that into that cannon prop.
Right, and there's like a tension and an urgency to it.
Yeah.
That's one thing we need to bring back is human cannonball acts, so especially like indoor human cannonball acts.
Yeah.
I think it's funny too that like whenever there's a human cannonball act, there's always like a countdown or music that sounds sort of like a countdown. Like there has to be a rush to it. It's like, well, what's the big rush?
Right.
I mean, isn't there enough inherent tension in putting a guy in a cannon?
Yeah.
To shoot him out of a cannon. But no, it's like you got to add like a countdown to it.
Right.
Like the cannon will blow up with the guy in it if they don't pull this off in time. That's always interesting. So I'd definitely put the human cannonball probably right below horse act on acts that I think there should be more of on TV these days.
Yeah. The horse act, of course. That's priority one.
Yeah. I'm almost surprised Statler and Waldorf didn't do a horse act.
Yeah, I'm sure someone did on the Muppet Show at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe like two horses.
Yeah, like an actual the ultimate horse act.
Right.
Yeah. So the Zucchini Brothers, I don't know if they passed the audition as far as I'm concerned. I just enjoyed having them out there. So
they have some technical things to work out.
But, once they get that precision, they got to work on it. But there's a certain stage presence that they have there that I think would serve them well on the main Muppet Show. Yeah.
Now I don't know if Gonzo was secretly, or not Gonzo, the other guy. They have an explosives guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was jealous.
Explosives guy. Yeah. Every vaudeville troupe and theater should have a demo man around,
That's my thing.
To blow stuff up. But yeah, the Zucchini Brothers, they're probably my favorite of the non-Steve Martin acts. I like Statler and Waldorf as characters, but as the act, the human cannonball with the Zucchini Brothers, that's a big thumbs up for me.
Yeah. I like the all food Glee Club too.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I always like it when they have food Muppets.
Yeah.
It's just the strangeness of it, I think.
Well, this is a good episode because you had cheese.
Yeah.
And the all.
And they didn't like. You get a bit after that where Floyd Pepper and Animal talk about wanting to use one of the food items for dinner later.
Right. Yeah. Not to jam with them or anything.
No.
So, yeah, they're not as welcoming, I guess, as you expect fellow musicians to be. They kind of didn't see them really as musical talent.
No. But I like that they're not shying away from the fact that they're still food.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That seems kind of realistic. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the catering budget is like on the Muppet Show.
Right.
So, hey, they're probably hungry. They've been sitting around all day.
Yeah.
Bunch of food items walk in.
That's got to be rough on Marvin Sucks. He's constantly, replacing people. But then it's like,
yeah.
He's got to, like, if the broccoli's a soprano, he's got to find. I mean, if he's, I don't know, maybe he's not specific in that way. He's just got to make sure he doesn't have bananas.
Right.
Which makes sense because they go bad so quickly.
Yeah. That's right.
Like in the middle of the song, it would just be rotten. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, probably most disco acts in the '70s probably had longer shelf lives than the bananas that he had to keep replacing. It was
That's
it was like Menudo.
Yeah.
The bananas would keep aging out of the act, so that's why you know what, we're just going to get rid of the bananas and we're going to do Yes We Have No Bananas, and we're not even going to cast these bananas anymore.
It worked out.
And he probably had to like sneak all the Glee Club probably had to like always be like sneak in through the back door and these arenas and stuff, and maybe through the kitchen it would be a little bit safer. They could blend in until just before they went out backstage because they were always under threat of being eaten. Yeah,
and their placement in the little riser they have, it was always changing too. He rotated the stock.
Yeah, I get a lot more respect for Marvin Suggs than I did. Now that you mention it,
I think that's a tough job.
He's not just sitting there, waving his fingers around, and he's like the behind the scenes probably, and the logistics of it were probably very difficult.
And they got to be good at delivering puns.
That's right. Yeah, they had to have a certain comedic ability, in addition to singing and being food.
Yeah.
So very versatile act. So okay, you won me over a little bit more with the all food Glee Club.
Right.
After the Zucchini Brothers, I think it was the big big
jug
closing
band,
number. Yeah, the jug band and kind of like an all-star jam.
Yeah, I think the jug band was a recurring.
Yeah, they weren't really. Yeah, they weren't like auditioning.
Right.
I should say it was like because Steve had already prepared to do his routine with the jug band when he was coming to the show. So
and we know the Muppet people like jug bands.
They certainly do.
Yeah,
they certainly do with
Emmett Otter.
Of course, yes, Emmett Otter and his Jug Band Christmas, classic Jim Henson special.
Yeah.
And this Jug Band and Steve Martin, they're all getting down.
Yeah, and I liked that some of the other acts got in on it.
Yeah, it was a very inclusive. Definitely did have that kind of like closing jam session feel to it.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was maybe one of the best individual numbers of the show, and I think we covered all the individual acts. Yeah, so I think the big winners were the Zucchinis, the All Food Glee Club, and maybe they would be the ones that might have passed the audition.
Yeah, and the aliens.
Oh yeah,
okay.
The aliens. Yeah.
There might be some difficulty with them too. Language barrier. Booking them, you have to book them like 3 light years in advance.
Right. Yeah, that could be difficult.
Yeah,
that could be difficult. So yeah, it was definitely a good episode. Like you said, atypical. But now, did you so you watched Muppet Show a lot as a kid?
Yeah, I think definitely. So it started when I was like 3. I don't. Probably definitely when it was first on.
Yeah. So they were in reruns after they were on.
Yeah, for a long time.
But I'm thinking that I watched them in syndication and in reruns.
Yeah.
Maybe it's hard to say which more, but I don't remember specific episodes as much as I always seem to remember the Muppets being present.
Yeah.
With the movies and the TV show, but the TV show it seemed like was like a big thing.
Right, and so according to Wikipedia again, now they needed a citation, so take this with a grain of salt. But some FCC rules had changed around then, and the networks had to give some of their previous primetime space to the affiliates.
Oh, okay.
So typically the Muppet Show aired like between 7:30 and 8.
Okay, yeah, which
So right before the network TV shows started, after the news.
right.
And that jibes with my memory of eating dinner and then watching the Muppet Show and then whatever else came on.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and then their deal, they did have a deal with, so it's sort of like CBS didn't want it for their network. They bought it, they worked it so it was for their affiliates.
Yeah, because it was basically Britain was the main producer of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a British production.
Yeah, like the
technically.
people who did the Thunderbirds and stuff were involved, and ITV was involved.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it was produced over there, and
And there was a legitimate prime time, and I think it was very popular over there too.
yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
And harkened back to their music hall
Right.
kind of things.
I seem to remember watching. I just seem to think of it as a more of a weekend thing
Yeah, I
than
think
a
it was
5 nights a week kind of thing. Although the reruns are maybe I'm not sure if the reruns were stripped 5 nights a week, but it seems like
Yeah.
a Saturday evening kind of thing.
I think that's when it was generally on.
Yeah, kind of a cool thing, which seems appropriate. I mean, Saturday weekends was kind of used to be a big variety night and
Yeah.
everything like that. So yeah, it's good family entertainment.
Yeah, and it didn't really get canceled. Like Jim Henson just wanted to do other stuff,
Oh, okay.
so he stopped it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was,
He wanted to go do
5 or
movies.
6
I think
years.
it's 5
Okay, so
seasons.
that's a pretty good run.
Yeah,
Yeah, well over 100 episodes. And
yeah.
yeah, it was good. So, do you have any? Do you remember any other favorite episodes, favorite guest stars, or? I was kind of surprised that this was. I think this was the only time Steve Martin was on the show.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
might have guessed.
I
Maybe
mean, he's
just
in the
because,
movie. So.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in the movie, and maybe just because he was on Saturday Night Live, seemingly so many times, I would have assumed. I mean, I guess would have thought, John Denver is somebody that you
Yeah.
associate with the Muppets.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the Star Wars one that has Mark Hamill and C-3PO and Chewbacca and R2-D2. Or all guests. Mark Hamill's playing both Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker. It's like Luke Skywalker is a guest on the show.
Which is pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
at the time, Star Wars and the Muppets in the same place. That's awesome.
Right. Other ones, I have kind of more vague memories.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shame that the older episodes seem to have gone by the wayside a little bit. Despite the recent revivals, I'd rather just see kind of the old episodes.
Right.
They had, like you said, so many guest stars, and like I said, I was never a Miss Piggy fan. I loved Kermit.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed Fozzie. One thing I remember is the pigs in space bit. We'd always have the pigs in space. And I kind of remember, and I'm not going to use any names here, but one thing that kind of makes me smile now is thinking of I think back in elementary school, when a certain friend of ours would be sort of be distracted and wouldn't be paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use the name, I'll use my own name, but somebody would go, Rick in space. Which is my favorite part about that segment, I think, was that it inspired that. But I love the Muppets. Kermit was always my favorite. I was just kind of drawn to that sort of general MC, everyman kind of character.
Right, he's very appealing. I think I always liked Fozzie, too. Mm-hmm. Just in some way. I mean, he is a terrible comedian, but...
Yeah, he's always... There's something endearing about his ambition and, his desire to please the audience, I guess.
Yeah, and Gonzo, most of them are cool. They're Muppets.
It's just a good show. And Statler and Waldorf are always hilarious.
They're oddly, so the DVDs have them, if the menu keeps cycling, they'll come on and tell you to hurry up and pick something. And it's, I don't know why, but their voices not being their voices just throws me off. Because the voices are completely different. And have been in the recent movies and stuff that it just...
So it's more jarring to see them.
Yeah, whereas I guess at this point we're used to whoever's doing Kermit and certainly on on Sesame Street none of the original Muppet people are doing except for Big Carol Spinney as Big Bird and Oscar. Most of the people aren't the original people, but they're in general pretty close.
Yeah, we can.
But it is jarring sometimes when you hear a different voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Swedish Chef. I have memories of just enjoying the Swedish Chef, laughing at that a lot, and I think the ballroom dancing things I found boring when I was a kid. And there's like the couple that Sam the Eagle is, the singing duo that Sam the Eagle is always trying to push, that are definitely kind of boring, but I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Like the Avery Schreiber one, he, introduces it and then they come out and like a monster immediately eats the male character.
Sometimes I found the Muppets a little frightening, actually. Like, there's some things that
Yeah.
kind of freak me out sometimes. Like, the Zoot, the saxophonist.
Yeah.
He always had the recurring bit where he'd be playing the saxophone and kind of look into it. And something about that character kind of scared me sometimes as a kid.
I kind of liked that character, but now, realize he's stoned.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like the sunglasses or something about it. There's something shady about him even then, but something about that character kind of got to me. But
yeah, I like now, like watching things when they do, especially that, like the Electric Mayhem, like watching how they sort of make it look like they're playing their instruments and stuff. And, and like the day it dawned on me that Floyd Pepper's name was a reference to Sergeant Pepper, and
I chuckle because I know you're a big fan of TV fictional. You're amused by fictional bands on television, and how they're playing and stuff. And I'm glad to see that it extends to even the Muppets. That you like to see their fingering and.
Well, not their, but just if they even manage to do it, and the props will often look pretty authentic to just a tinier version of real instruments and stuff, and that's.
Well, I mean,
it's always fun.
I mean, it's one thing, like, I don't know, like, as far as the budget goes or whatever, it was a syndicated show, but it always seemed like a pretty top-notch production. I mean, even though they're in a relatively limited environment and there's not a lot of, they're sort of recreating, like, a relatively low-budget, stage setup. The show itself seemed to go all the way. I mean, not all the way, but, you'd have your knockoff versions of some of these Muppets and in this episode, but the fact is they had all these different acts, and, they, within a half-hour version of 20-some minutes, they crammed quite a bit of entertainment into the show and a wide variety of Muppets that you'd always see.
Because not only did they have to just do the Muppet part of it, but they had to write it. They had to arrange. I mean, most of the songs would be whatever standard, or, they weren't writing new songs necessarily for it, but they had to arrange those and all of that and record all that, and, it's a lot of work, but it's Jim Henson, so they were pros. Yeah,
they did very good work, and it was an excellent show that I often find myself thinking, I'd really like to see more of that.
Yeah, and unfortunately the DVDs have stalled out at season 3.
Yeah.
So there are two seasons that look full of, cool stuff.
Yeah, and they, like I said, I don't know if they're being run on cable or syndication or any of these digital sub-channels anywhere, and it sort of seems like trapped in between, and it's in limbo for no apparent reason. But hey, I'd definitely like to see more of it. And even though this wasn't what we'd call a typical episode of the Muppet Show, it reminded me a lot of the things that I enjoyed about the Muppet Show. So it was a lot of fun revisiting it, and I definitely would want to see more. This episode brought to you by the Sam the Eagle Foundation for Old-Fashioned Entertainment. This episode also brought to you by the Swedish Chef. Bork, 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 bork. This episode also brought to you by the Institute for the Restoration of Steve Martin's Reputation. Well, excuse him.
Oh, listen, just one more thing.
One other thing of memory I have is that I assume this thing toured around, but there was a thing, like Atlanta has, I think it's still there, a place called the Center for Puppetry Arts. And they had like a behind the scenes thing where that, not only had like actual Muppets and stuff, but that it took you through the whole, like how they do things. And that's where I learned, like they have like sort of these generic Muppets that they can just change the noses and eyes and stuff and, to suit different characters. So it's basically just like a shape, a head, and then it's flexible that way.
Cool.
And, I had the whole history of how they had gotten to all that by then. And I went on a field trip, and then I think we went back for my birthday because it was cool.
Yeah.
I also have a book that's like a big hardback book, kind of like a picture book, but basically they illustrated an entire episode. I'll show it to you later.
Yeah.
It's cool, and I held on to it. But I remember it used to scare it because there's some monster character in there that's freaky. It might even be the first episode, I'm not sure. But,
wow.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, they did a lot of merchandising and I remember toys and books and stuff. They're big on that, and it seems like I don't know. I sort of get the impression now that the idea. I don't want to say that it's soulless, these revivals, because I think the movies. The people that are doing those had their heart in the right place, but it just seems like sometimes the way they handle the franchise, it's like they want to keep the brand out there as a brand for its own sake, but without necessarily really getting at the idea of what the brand is about. So
Right.
yeah, it's a little disappointing, but maybe they'll turn it around someday. But for me, I'd be happy, like I said, just to see the old episodes again. And
Me too.
yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily need to see new versions of it or reboots.
Yeah.
Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network Shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Battle of the Network Shows.
What's wrong with you?
It's either this show or indigestion. I hope it's indigestion.
Why?
It'll get better in a little while.